Good afternoon, everyone. Would it surprise you if I told you that each of you, could save 18 lives in 1 year? I'm going to be sharing some information with you today. And in the process, I'm also going to be urging each of you to become blood donors. Now, first, I want to set the stage so that we could directly connect you to the situation. Imagine you're walking along the sidewalk or driving in your car, and it's a fine, beautiful day out, and all of a sudden, bam, you wake up, you're laying on a table, you're bleeding, you've been in an accident, and you think to yourself, am I dying? I'm bleeding. Are they going to have enough blood to save my life today? Now, this is just a story, but this can become reality. In 1818, there was the first successful blood transfusion from human to human. And then medical professionals made some pretty giant steps. And in 1970, the US blood banks became an all-donor blood donor system. So this system put into place has effectively allowed medical professionals to complete procedures to save people's lives. Now, there are 4 transfusible products of blood. There are red cells, there are platelets, plasma, and cryo. And 2 or 3 of these products can be produced out of 1 pint of blood. In addition to that, you also have blood types. So you have type A, type B, type AB, and type O. And type O is one of the most common blood types. It's also the safest and considered universal. So for instance, I am a type A, and then you also have Rh negative blood and Rh positive blood. So I'm type A, and then I have Rh positive blood, so that makes me A positive. I became a blood donor because I think it's important to be thankful for every day that you're healthy. And it brings me joy in giving to those people that are in need. And I wanted to be a blood donor for about as long as I could remember, and I couldn't because I wasn't of the proper weight. The day that changed, my life changed, and I've been a blood donor ever since. So let's talk about why I'm asking each of you to become blood donors today. We have some problems. The first problem is that our need for blood exceeds our supply. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services in July 2009, approximately 5 million Americans need blood transfusions yearly. That equates to about 40,000 units of blood per day, which means that basically every 3 seconds, somebody needs blood to save their life. In addition to that, about 60% of our population at some point will need a blood transfusion. So that means your mother, a brother, a grandparent, a child, yourself may need blood at some point. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, in July 2009, they indicated some of the people that need blood transfusions. So trauma patients, some people that lose blood during surgery, some people that have cancers, some people that have anemia, such as sickle cell anemia, some of our newborn children, and our soldiers. So this is why I urge each of you to become blood donors today. Now, many of you may have walked in this room thinking to yourself, well, donating blood is not directly connected to me. Well, I ask each of you to think, how are you starting to feel about that? The second major problem I want to talk about is that our current stock is in jeopardy. Our blood is perishable. Blood cannot be manufactured. It simply has to be obtained as a gift from one person to another. According to an internet source on Associated Content, published in 2009, it talks about the shelf life of blood. Blood can be stored anywhere from 5 to 42 days. So there is this constant need for blood at all times, and it's the reason why I'm urging each of you to become blood donors. According to the American Red Cross in 2010, it talks about that 38% of our population is actually eligible to donate blood. Yet out of that 38%, only 5% actually donate. Now, why is that? Well, let's talk about that. According to the American Red Cross, some of the reasons why people choose not to donate are some of the following. I'm too old, or I'm afraid of needles. I'm afraid I can contract AIDS. And the most common is I am too busy. Well, some of these misconceptions can be cleared up simply with some education, and I'll get to that later on, but first I want to talk about some solutions. I believe that we can increase donors by creating incentives. So in the Western world, donating blood is a purely altruistic moment. It means you have to be willing to want to give the gift of life. But we've realized that this is not enough to keep up with the demand. So corporations and hospitals had started creating incentive programs. According to an internet source on incentives for blood donation, at St. John's Regional Healthcare Center in Springfield, Missouri, back in 1988, started a program where they had incentives as free t-shirts, lunch passes, pizza parties, and by doing so, they were able to increase donations 40%. Now, I want to direct each of you to take a look at this poster here. The New York Blood Center, in conjunction with the Fire Department of New York, will contribute $10 for every single pint of blood that's donated to some of the specific charities that they've outlined. So not only do you save 3 lives with every pint of blood that you donate, but you could also be contributing to some of these charities. These are some really fantastic incentives. But now I want to talk about a healthy incentive. If we donate a little excess blood every 56 days, your body automatically needs to regenerate new blood in your system. According to an internet article written by Buzzle in 2009, they said that donating blood is a great way to get rid of excess iron. Now, excess iron can damage cells and tissues in your body. It can lead to some heart disease. It could also lead to some cancers. So donating blood is a healthy choice. It's a reason why I'm urging each of you to become blood donors today. Now, let's talk about the other solution. I think that if we educate individuals, we can increase the amount of donations. So in some of our schools, they're starting programs to educate children on the importance of blood donation. According to the Community Blood Center in Ohio in 2005, they started a program called My Blood, Your Blood. They teach children from kindergarten to grade 12 on the importance of donating blood and the healthy reasons behind it. Now, you can't donate until you're 17 years old, but I still think this is a fantastic way to educate our children and to create a positive impact. Now, let me direct you to some of the brochures that I gave you in your packets. The American Red Cross will distribute packets. They have commercials. They do advertising to increase the amount of donors, but also to educate you guys on some of those misconceptions. So in addition to your packet, I also included a Q&A on some misconceptions as well. Now, you might say to me, okay, Chanel, well, how can you prove that educating our children and advertising will work? Well, I can't 100%, but I'd like to compare it to something. When we are trying to get people out to register to vote, what do? We educate our children, even though they can't vote till they're 18. And we also advertise, knock on people's doors. By doing this, we effectively increase the amount of people that register to vote. Well, if we apply some of these same solutions, I believe that we can effectively increase the amount of donors that we have. Now let's talk about the future. If we can get close to that 38% that we need for eligible donors, I believe that limited blood will become a thing of the past. But if we can't apply these solutions, I'm afraid what that might mean for our society. What if we had a catastrophic disaster and massive amounts of people needed blood at the same time? Well, if we're not prepared, we can eliminate portions of our population. So, with the need exceeding the supply and the constant need for it because it's limited, we need to create incentives and educate our children and our society so that we can effectively change medical history and increase the amount of donors that we have. Now, I want to give you some pretty simple action steps to get you started. The first step is to look at some of the material that you've been given today, and if you want to do further education to yourself, do some research. The second step is to make an appointment today at your local blood center. I've given you in your handout some locations and numbers to some blood banks close to us to kind of put you in the right direction. And the third step is to stretch out your arm, to relax, and to smile, because you can know that the day that you donate blood, you are saving 3 lives. Now, I ask each of you to leave this room today and consider the information that has been told to you. Now, do you want to become a blood donor? The answer should be yes. Go to your local blood drive and sign up today. Thank you for your time.